Kia ora. John Winters, New Zealand supermarket sleuth, with another look at the supermarket scene, and this week once again we're looking at the UK. Bidders line up to snap up Morrisons. Will it have overseas owners? No sooner has Asda switched from American ownership to British, but Morrisons may become foreign owned. Currently Asda and Morrisons are number 3 and number 4 of the big 4 British supermarkets. Now Asda is majority British owned, but will the ownership of Morrisons go offshore? Whatever happens, it seems likely that these two supermarket groups will be working hard to grow their businesses and knock Sainsbury's and Tesco off the top. But that's not all. Amazon Fresh, both through its online operation and the new bricks and mortar stores, will also be nibbling away at the positions the big two hold in the market. Added to this, more discounters are now entering the British market, competing against Aldi and Lidl. How long will they be top of the tree before the newbies start nibbling away at their businesses? Shares in Morrisons surged up 11% on the morning that the bidding war started, after Morrison's board had accepted an offer from a trio of private investment groups led by SoftBank-owned Fortress. The Bidco consortium, made up of Fortress, the Canadian pension fund CPPIB, and a unit of Koch Industries, have offered to pay 252p a share, along with backing a 2p special dividend. The deal follows 2 months of negotiations. It comes 2 weeks after the Bradford-based supermarket group rejected an approach made by Clayton, Dubilier and Rice, known as CD&R, the US private equity firm, which is being advised by former Tesco CEO Sir Terry Lee, is believed to be chewing over whether to launch a higher bid. Under the UK's takeover rules, it has until July 17 to make a firm offer or walk away. Another private equity group, Apollo Global Management, is also among the potential counterbidders circling Morrisons. But no approach has been made to the board of Morrisons, and there's no certainty that any offer will be made from that direction. Apollo's interest comes after it was beaten by the Issa brothers and TDR Capital in the race to buy Asda last year. So there are now 3 bidders and no word yet from Amazon. Acquiring Morrisons could make a huge difference to Amazon to gain so many bricks and mortar stores, greatly expanding its property portfolio from the few Amazon Fresh stores opened so far. Morrisons recently launched a TV campaign supporting its new Make Good Things Happen brand positioning. Aiming to show how people can make proper good food, their words, the ad sees a chart highlighting the supermarket sourcing of local fresh produce and the expertise of its staff in store. Morrisons said the ad was intended to highlight how consumers can benefit from its knowledgeable staff and close relationship with food producers. It seems the idea of being more thoughtful about buying and enjoying food had come from customer feedback over the past year. Apparently, during the pandemic, people were able to give more time and thought to what they were going to have for dinner, prompting many to learn more about the food they eat and cook. In another move, the Yorkshire-based supermarket is launching a glass milk bottle trial to reduce plastic usage by bringing back traditional packaging. The bottles hold a pint of milk and are priced at 90p. That's when we used to have deliveries. I think they still do in the UK, but certainly not here in New Zealand. When we used to have doorstop deliveries, I used to help a milkman at the time, and yes, they were all glass bottles, and we picked up the empties, and it was a very good system, very environmentally friendly. These milk bottles are available in 7 trial stores across Kent and 4 stores across Sheffield, with deliveries direct to the supermarkets from local dairy farms. Once returned, the bottles are sanitised and could potentially be reused for over 10 years, as they once used to be. Morrison says the introduction of glass milk bottles is expected to remove 40,000 plastic bottles from these stores per year. It also highlighted that the scheme will reduce CO2 emissions, as the delivery from local suppliers means the milk covers shorter distances. The supermarket's committed to a 50% reduction across its own label primary plastic packaging by 2025. Now let's turn to Asda. It's tapping into the growing on-demand grocery channel by launching a service offering home delivery within an hour. But unlike some other providers, it's making its full online product range available for rapid delivery. The express delivery service has been launched at 3 Asda stores following an initial trial. Customers living within a 3-mile radius of its Halifax, Rotherham and Poole stores can order up to 70 items from Asda's 30,000 strong online grocery range for delivery in an hour, with a flat rate charge of £8.50. Larger orders with no limit on the number of items can also be delivered within 4 hours. Asda believes there's potential to quickly roll out the express delivery service to more stores if it proves popular with shoppers. It's also extending its partnership with Uber Eats from 200 to more than 300 stores. There will be a range of 500 everyday grocery products for rapid delivery. Asda also says it plans to make hybrid working a permanent feature of its head offices since the COVID-19 restrictions are lifted. The 4,000 staff who work at Asda House in Leeds and George House in Leicester will be able to choose where they work, including home, in the office, or even at a store or depot. The company admitted the model would not work for all employers and situations, but it said staff would have the flexibility to work from home when it's more productive to do so, such as tasks that involve planning or research or possibly even marketing. Having big problems, undoubtedly like its competitors, is Tesco. It's reported it's experiencing a shortage of HGV drivers, leading to tons of food being dumped each week. However, the retailer's chief executive said it's working to resolve the issue. Said Ken Murphy, these are his words, "We've already got plans to address the shortfall and we're working closely with the suppliers." He stressed product availability in its store remains, his words, really strong. Tesco's CFO Imran Nawaz suggests impact of the lack of drivers is likely to be felt until the end of the year. He said, his words, "There is a shortage and these things take care of themselves as supply and demand is manoeuvred around." End his words. Tesco also told government ministers that the shortage has led to 48 tonnes of food across its supply chain being binned in one particular week, representing a huge increase compared with normal levels. And that is appalling. Wasting food when there are people in the world who are starving, people undoubtedly in the UK who have got very little to eat, and they're just binning it. That really is atrocious. Now let's move to the discounters, as we often do. Aldi's spirits range won 32 medals at the 2021 International Wines and Spirits competition, known as the IWSC, including 1 outstanding gold, 4 gold and 9 silver medals. Aldi has had 5 times the number of awards as Waitrose offering, and more than any other supermarket. Aldi's Glenmarnock 12-year-old Speyside single malt received the highest commendation of the competition with an outstanding gold medal. The whisky is produced exclusively for the retailer in Speyside and is matured in hand-crafted American oak casks for 12 years. Aldi's premium gin range, Haysmith's, also came out on top, claiming 2 golds for Haysmith's Bramble Blackberry and Raspberry Gin and Haysmith's London Dry Gin. The International Wine and Spirits competition spirits category is said to be the world's largest and most influential international spirit awards contest. In the last 12 months, Aldi's booze range has received more than 260 medals. Now we move to Lidl. It's reached the milestone of 860 stores in Britain and remains on track to have 1,000 by the end of next year. The discounter is currently implementing a £1.3 billion investment plan for 2021 and 2022, which includes opening 50 new stores this year. So far, Lidl has opened 20 stores, despite the disruption caused by the restrictions during the pandemic. The company recently published its annual list of desired locations across the country where it's interested in acquiring sites for potential development. It says it's looking for town centre, edge of centre, retail park and metropolitan locations. Now we move to prices, always an interesting subject. Despite warnings that supply chain problems and Brexit red tape are adding extra costs to the sector, food prices fell in June for the third month in a row as supermarkets and discounters continued their battle to win shoppers. The latest BRC Nielsen IQ Shop Price Index shows food deflation was 0.2% last month compared with 0.3% in May, marking the third month in a row of falling prices. Fresh food prices fell for the 7th consecutive month, although deflation slowed to 0.7% from 1% in May. Ambient food inflation eased to 0.6%, down from 0.7% the previous month. Excuse me, time of the year and I've got a cold. My daughter loves sharing things with me, particularly colds. Now, 3 product stories. Overall, alcohol consumption in Scotland fell to a 26-year low last year, according to a report published by Public Health Scotland. The annual Monitoring and Evaluation Scotland's Alcohol Strategy report shows that the total alcohol sales fell 5% on the previous year to the lowest level recorded since 1994. Last year, COVID-19 restrictions affected alcohol sales from pubs, clubs and restaurants. 9 in every 10 units of alcohol sold in Scotland in 2020 were sold via off-trade outlets, including supermarkets and other off-licences, an increase from 7 in every 10 units in 2019. Public Health Minister Marie Todd said, her words, "Clearly COVID-19 and the associated restrictions have had a dramatic impact on the hospitality trade, but these figures demonstrate that the restrictions in place did not simply translate into an increase in the total amount of alcohol being consumed. In fact, the opposite is the case." She credited the country's minimum unit pricing policy introduced in 2018 for the fall in sales. The report, Mises report, details a 10% year-on-year reduction in the number of deaths wholly caused by alcohol in 2019. Now we move from one type of drink to another, drinking chocolate. But is it? Barry Callebaut's own cocoa brand Van Houten has unveiled what it claims to be the first powdered chocolate milk made from ruby chocolate. Made from sustainably sourced cocoa beans, the new product will be offered to the hospitality sector, specifically baristas and coffee bars. The innovation follows the unveiling of Ruby, the 4th type of chocolate by Barry Callebaut back in 2017. Since its launch, the Ruby chocolate variety has proved popular with consumers. You note that there's no mention of supermarkets. Barry Callebaut had a stand at the recent New Zealand Fine Food Show in Auckland, where I tackled them on this apparent oversight. But it's not an oversight. I learned that the so-called drinking chocolate we buy in our supermarkets isn't drinking chocolate, it's cocoa. Barry Callebaut tells me supermarkets would not pay the much higher price for real drinking chocolate. They're only offering the Ruby drinking chocolate to high-class restaurants and hotels. If you want the real stuff, I suggest melting some chocolate in hot water and stirring it in. If it's not strong enough, add a little bit more solid chocolate, and that's real drinking chocolate. Finally this time, Kit Kat, chocolate again, has gone vegan. I kid you not. The new chocolate arrives in Australia this month. Kit Kat V will feature smooth chocolate blended with rice-based alternative to milk that beautifully balances the crisp wafer. Those are their words. Our challenge when we set out to create a vegan-friendly Kit Kat was to create this iconic product using plant-based alternatives. Head of Nestlé Confectionery Product Technology Centre in the UK, Louise Barrett, says. To achieve this, we worked very hard to get the right balance between the milk alternative and the cocoa. The result is a vegan chocolate that we're very proud of, and I hope all Kit Kat fans will love it as much as we do. Nestlé's head of marketing, Joyce Tan, adds, "We've seen so much excitement and anticipation from our fans when plans for the first vegan Kit Kat were announced earlier this year. So I'm thrilled to share that Kit Kat V will be coming to Australia." I'm guessing it's probably in England already. Kit Kat V adds to Nestlé's collection of plant-based alternatives such as Nestlé Gold coffee mixes, plant-based Milo and plant-based condensed milk alternative. That's all for this week. Back again soon. Bye for now.